and it was awesome.
All right, we're going live on YouTube now. All right, I'll give people just a few more minutes to log in. Whoever logged in as the status host, can you please let everyone else in to the meeting or make me a host again?
Yes, sorry, Johnny.
Thank you. Oops. Okay. Can everyone hear me okay?
Can you hear
Yep.
me?
Yep,
Hello?
we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, but can you hear us?
That is the problem.
Okay, perfect. 1 second. Let me just plug my headphones back in. All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our town hall today. This is our 31st town hall, and I'm your host, Rajani. I will be flying solo again today. Nothing happened to Rachel. She's just suffering from bad internet. But fun fact, if you didn't know, today is her 1-year anniversary. So congrats, Rachel. Now let's jump into our, first of all, forgot to mention, today's town hall will have some exciting news for our updates, and we'll be announcing some exciting new partnership deals. So let's get started. Let's welcome our 2 new hires starting today, Dean and Kim. Today, Dean will be represented as Kanye West, or Ye, as he goes by. Why, you wonder? Because Yeeth is Dean's implementation of Ethereum, and this photo was found on his Twitter. And Kim will be represented as Kim Kardashian because Kim Kardashian is married to Kanye West, and they have the first same names. So please welcome Dean and Kim, everybody, and say hi when you get a chance. All right, status build. Status build will be happening next week. Pitch day will be happening this Friday. I will send out the sign up page again. We have some great submissions, and I believe the Bill has a quick update.
Yeah, so basically, one of the primary goals of Bid Week is to kind of play around and muck around with extensions. So build them, you can see what goes wrong, see what goes right. If you find out things that go wrong, you can improve them. There's a lot of opportunities there to play around with extensions and some really cool features that people or various teams want. So bonus points if what you're pitching uses extensions and if what you're building uses it as well. So that's it's a really awesome opportunity. On top of that, it's been a super hectic Q1. Everyone's been focusing on the SNT utilities, and it's a good chance to kind of start Q2 with a bit of a breather. So kind of take it easy, experiment, play around, and see what you come up with through the week. So as Rajani said, the sign up is this Friday, and then it starts next Monday and goes for 3.5 days. So good luck, and you can check out that channel for any questions that you may have.
All right, thanks, Nabil. Now jumping over to Jared, who will give us a quick John Rikey update. Jared?
Hey, yeah, cool. Nice pun. Yeah, so I've been evaluating this project management tool called Rike, I believe. I could be mispronouncing it. I have no idea. This isn't really for development per se, but it's definitely for the organization-wide tasks. However, there is GitHub integration, so it can be used for doing development. Basically, there's like a lot of spinning plates within status, and it'd be great to map out the dependencies, make sure individuals aren't overtaxed with too many tasks. It's also a great way to kind of like manage different swarm timelines. So basically, I'm evaluating it for Q2. I've been sending an invite out to everybody at status. And it should be pretty cool because, well, if we get all these dependencies done, we'll actually have a critical path that a Gantt chart can show us, which is really great for outside contribution as well, because we can basically say to any contributor that this is the most important things to work on if they're willing to work on that. I've also populated it with a bunch of potential swarms or swarm suggestions. We don't have to do them all for Q2, but it was basically everyone I talked to ideas about that. So yeah, like you can use it or not. It's totally up to you. It's not meant to replace Pivotal Tracker or GitHub or anything like that. But if you do find it useful, you're more than welcome to use it. What's also cool about it is it works kind of like a to-do list or a Kanban board. I don't know what a table is, or a Gantt chart. So you can kind of change your view on the data, which is really interesting. Yeah, that's most of it. It has a whole bunch of other bells and whistles that I won't bore you with at the moment. But yeah, check it out. Feel free to play around with it, populate it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Jared. All right, next up we have our cool dads of status with a Pops update and a kudos bar snack. Carrie?
Hi. Okay, so these last few weeks we were kind of focusing on tying up loose ends for our People Ops Q1 OKRs. So this is really just like a recap of the quarter that we're sharing with you, and you can read more on the little post that's linked there at the bottom of the slide. So basically this theme for us was like, it was very much like renewal. Like we started off pretty sad at the beginning of the quarter and our best laid plans kind of went off track. And so we really had to just kind of like adjust at the start and rethink how we were going to do this. So what did we actually achieve in Q1? Broadly, there's like 4 buckets. One is documentation. So we really just undertook this effort to get everything written down in terms of like how we work, refining our policies, making sure they make sense. So just making sure that was all kind of up to date. The next one was connectivity. And this was us like listening to what you all were telling us via the engagement survey and trying to bridge the communication gap that a lot of you said that you were feeling. So really like more newsletters, proactive updates, communications, feedback rounds, those kind of things. We then looked at contributor pathways, which is around trying to improve the different ways that we like reach, engage, interact with contributors, and like kind of trimming down our hiring efforts. And then we also just did some work on hygiene factors. And this is kind of like the less interesting, but not less important stuff that takes up time, like data privacy, reviewing how we handle sensitive information, those kind of things. And in terms of the lessons that we learned in Q1 that we're going to take forward to Q2, first and foremost is transparency. I think that it's really important to give reassurance. And so to that end, we'll be trying to work more swarm-wise in Q2. The other one was to fix what we can about the contributor experience. You know, it's always really sad when we lose people, and we did in Q1. And there's things obviously that are outside of our control, but we just need to focus on those things that are and try and improve those so that, you know, we learn from every departure. And the last thing that I'd say in terms of lessons learned was that you all told us via the engagement survey that you really miss Slack as like it's more than an instant messenger. It's kind of like a virtual office. So what we're trying to do is keep everyone connected. And so we're trying to bring people together and make more opportunities to connect and engage. On to the next slide. Okay, so this one is just a quick update for you all on the meritocracy. I'm sure you've all heard a bit about this and are wondering what the latest is. So we will actually be going live this week. The DApp is now on mainnet, and the plan initially will be to start with a small amount of SNT for the weekly allocation while the contract's still being audited. But once we're up and running, that will be increased. So I think initially it'll be around 5 SNT. The DApp currently looks a bit basic. I've put a little screenshot of it there for you, but it is functional. So I've heard that there's a build week coming up, and if you'd like to get involved, we're looking for help with the design and the leaderboard UI for the DApp. So just ping me. I know it's not an extension, but yeah, just putting that out there. And yeah, in terms of what next, keep an eye out on Discuss, because there's going to be a launch post in which will tell you a bit more about how you can access the DApp and start giving out those like tasty kudos every week to your fellow contributors. And that's it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Carrie. All right. Now to hear the buzz from our Swarm updates. First, we have Tribute to Talk, which is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Can you hear me now? Eric?
Hi, yeah. So last week we realized that we need to be more careful with error handling in terms of UI. So we're extending this the delivery a bit so that we can take that into account when transaction fails or upload to IPFS fails. To be sure that we don't have the same problems that we had with ENS when we released it. So we pushed the deadline to 14th of April. And that's it for me.
Cool. Thanks, Eric. Next, we have Sticker Market, brought to you by Lisa Frank. Great for ages 3 and up. Julian?
Yeah. So we're still in the process of wrapping up everything. So the development is done. Now we are waiting for the commission pack to be complete. It's almost done. So we're still waiting for a couple of animation, that kind of things. Then the contract audit should start this week, hopefully. I'm not quite sure how long it will take, but then that's essentially the last bit we need to make the feature part of the release. And in parallel, we started working on the next phase of Sticker Market. So Mashi already finished the mockups pretty much. So there is a link here, you can take a look. And the idea is to design like the creator dApps. So essentially, what will help you publish your own sticker pack if you are an artist. And then that will be the focus of Q2 for Sticker Market.
Great, thanks, Julian. All right, next we jump over with network incentives. Let's make it rain, Igor.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll start it with what we call the proof of concept for the private network. So essentially, we have deployed like a proof of concept smart contract where you can register and actually use a list of mail servers. I know we're a bit late. It would have been very useful for the Status Unicorn Day, but yeah, we're a bit late on that. So yeah, we'll continue with the proof of concept more to add like real checks for these mail servers that are actually being run properly, and we'll continue iterating from there. That's all from me.
Great, thank you. All right, next we have Status Teller Cartoon Network. Yuri?
Hi, so we've been continuing to work on arbitration workflow, just making sure we have the UI done right for that. Also working on the second phase of that protocol. We're doing tests on Rikey. Send me a message if you're interested in testing us out with your Rikey address and status contact code. And then there's a lot of different mixed fixes that which would be too many to talk about here. Oh yeah, and next slide.
I think actually the next slide. Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So I never really showed some of the teller network. So here you can see some of the seller workflow. So the idea that you can buy a license in SNT. to be able to sell. Then when he wants to do, he wants to transmit, he can sell a particular asset. Then he can choose the asset, he can choose the method, and then he can choose the fee. And from the buyer's perspective, which next slide. Yeah. So from this buyer's perspective, they have a list that they can filter it, or they can sort it, and they can filter it by. There's repetition. We also have a repetition system, but they can filter by method, location. They can find them in the map, and then they can choose a person and choose to open a trade with them. And if there's a dispute, then we have also there's this arbitration UI that a particular arbiter can see what. Sorry, next slide. The arbiter can see what are the open disputes, and the idea that we'll be able to read the chat logs if necessary, and then be able to actually resolve that dispute that happens.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Yuri. All right, now we have Utopic Democracy, sponsored by NASA, Alien Approved. Ricardo?
Hi. So this is Swarm started just now, last week, and we are still missing some positions, for example, for design, project management, and maybe another contributor. We started. I already have a specification started, so the arrows are kind of missing, but it's in the start of a specification. We have a very defined MVP in the smart contracts, and I'm starting to write this implementation that will be this. So the project is basically a micro democracy. So, for example, Sticker Market had their own contract. So in future, this contract could be handled by this micro democracy that shares this same trust network of delegates, because this is a project of liquid democracy for controlling our systems. And that's it.
Great. All right, thanks, Ricardo. All right, now we have our DAO Bao Buns. Yuri?
Right. So I think Barry could be better to talk this week about this, but our goal is basically to get now some page, to get it actually working so we can do some experimental funding for the hackathon, upcoming hackathon, and that's kind of like what we're working on. That's it.
Great. All right, cool. Thanks, Yuri. All right, now we have the Dab Store featuring the Migos. Andy? Andy, are you on the call? Oh, hello, Andy. Do you need help with not being muted or something? 1 second.
Cool. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So we're making good progress. We should have version 1 of the DApp store hopefully done by the end of this week. There's still some chinks in the contract to work out mathematically, but with version 1 delivered by the end of this week, we'll hopefully have version 2 with full voting and a bonded curve and all the bells and whistles done potentially by the beginning of next month. So everything moving along well there, and you can check out the new version 1 in the link on the slide. Dab away.
Great, thanks, Andy. And lastly, we are on to our Antastic core improvements. Igor?
Yep. So yeah, as you probably noticed, today is the Unicorn Day, which wouldn't be possible without this 0.11.0 release. And actually, we released it last week. It has 116 new commits compared to the previous version. And there are lots of under the hood changes that I probably didn't list there because, yeah, they're tiny, but there are tons of them. But you definitely should have noticed that there is a the app tab that is a separate one. There's also a few like more consistent design every here and there. And we also changed quite a few smaller things regarding message reliability, which I hope will also help a few people. And we'll continue working on more on the error reporting and message reliability within the next 2 weeks. That's all.
Great, thanks, thanks Igor, and thanks everyone for those Swarm updates. Now let's jump to some of our other updates. We have a quick update from Oscar on what's happening with the Unicorn Day. Oscar?
Yeah, so as most of you probably realized, Chaos Unicorn Day is on. It started 9 a.m. UTC today, and it's going to go on for 24 hours. There's a live thread in Discuss you can check out if you have any problems. There's also some great guides on how to host your node and connect to other nodes by Bruno and Chuck. Yeah, and if you manage to survive and come out at the end, please check in and hashtag status. I also want to give a huge kudos to everyone who made this possible. So we have Andrea, Roman, Vitaly, Eric, Jacob, Adam for making sort of necessary changes in the app cluster and getting the release out. And then Tatiana, Sergey, and Anna for testing and cat herding. And everyone else who made this happen, I forgot to mention, as well as kudos to Bruno and Chuck for hosting nodes and writing up guides for sharing them. Please, things are going to be sort of broken and so on, so this is a perfect opportunity for us to learn. So please take this opportunity to write down any notes about things that you think could be better, about the user experience and so on. There's a document in the Discuss thread that we can add these, and then we'll have a post-mortem the next core dev call, or possibly earlier. That's it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Oscar. Really great stuff. All right, now we're going to embark on an adventure with the Embark team. And Yuri, I believe, are you taking this?
Yeah.
Great.
So so it's very exciting. We finally released the Embark 4.0. So it has a lot of new features. I can't really mention all of them here, but it has from an integrated debugger to it supports local dependencies per project. So it no longer needs a global install, which is something that actually took quite amount of work. It has it can configure the accounts in a very complex but very useful ways. There's much better tooling integration with other front-end tooling. And of course, it has stuff like a cockpit. And we also released a new website to go with it. So next slide. So you can visit the website at embark.series.im. It's a really beautiful website. It does a much better job at explaining what Embark actually does, and it provides different learning paths. So depending on the target developer, it knows what to follow to reach the documentation that he wants. And we're really trying to push very much more often blog updates and tutorials for the community. And on the website, we also talk about, next slide, about the cockpit. And I think I talked about cockpit here before, so I won't really repeat it. But if you want to know more details, there's the talk at DEF CON, and there's also this great talk by Michael at Denver. And so cockpit is our UI that it serves as a complementary UI for Embark. So you have like a dashboard, you have with the interactive console, we have a blockchain explorer. It has a smart deployment tool for deploying the contracts into production. It even has an IDE integrated, and it also has various dev utils that are useful for dev development. That's it.
Great, thanks. The website looks great, and congrats guys on all your great work. Now we're going to jump on that Nimbus cloud, and here's a Nimbus team update.
Hey, the exciting news this week was that Nimbus became the first publicly available Ethereum 2 testnet. And we launched not just one testnet, but two at the same time. The testnet 0 is the one we advertised publicly. It's a small network with just 400 validators running on 2 server nodes. And testnet 1 is launched secretly, but it's much larger network running on 20 nodes with 1,000 validators. Vitalik himself has been spotted in the wild trying to bring down the network by creating hype surrounding it. But his attempts failed miserably, and we are still going on block 8,000 and counting. Both networks are alive, and you can join them by following the instructions on the bottom of your screen. In the coming months, will be the Ethereum Foundation is just starting to release the first test vectors for the various data structures and algorithms that are specialized in the protocols. And so we'll be focusing on testing Nimbus with these test vectors and gaining interoperability with the rest of the clients. The shared networking protocol is also being defined as in the coming week. Will be defined in the coming weeks, and our next goal will be to have a testnet with all of the rest of the Ethereum 2.0 clients. On the Ethereum 1 front, most of our team have been working on Ethereum 2, but thanks to our external contributor, Andrew Lim, we've made great progress on Ethereum 1 as well. And we are now syncing past the Homestead fork, which is more than 2 million blocks successfully. We are also starting work on standalone implementation of Whisper and PSS. And we hope that this work will soon be useful in the status core app itself. So congratulations for everybody on the Nimbus team for delivering this launch. And kudos to Jakub, who helped us a lot with setting up the infrastructure for the testnet.
Yeah, really great stuff. Thanks to the Nimbus team and the Embark team for all your updates. These are really great and exciting updates. And last but not least, just want to say, I hope everyone enjoyed today's PowerPoint. Thank you for letting me fill this presentation with bad jokes and puns. I hope you all laughed with me or at me, both are fine. Happy April Fools. And it goes to mention that all those sponsorships I mentioned were fake. So on a serious note, we're going to switch over to some Q&A. All right, and the first question that was submitted via Townhall questions, how can I integrate a status IAM-based support channel on a website and generate a new guest user ID for every visitor on their local storage? Does anybody have an answer for this question?
Well, I have a pretty long one and technical, but you can theoretically just use Status Go, and Status Go bots are two repositories that might be interested to do this because Status Go bots is the one thing that actually monitors and it can send messages. And then, unfortunately, we'll have to write this thing in Go as of now. But yeah, if you're interested in how to do this specifically, then hashtag status core and just ping about this, and I can try to explain a bit more.
All right, so I have another answer to that. We actually can't right now because we have a Murmur, which is a Whisper client that works in the browser. And we also have a status library that works with Murmur. And we showed some time ago this web client for status that completely works. So this is fully possible right now. What this question is asking, it does not need to use Go. You can just use JavaScript, and so it's not theoretical anymore. You can just do it. You can do it right now.
And with the key management as well, right? So on the client side.
Yeah, key management would be up to him or her on the client side.
Yeah, then it's probably the best place to start.
So I'm gonna go to the YouTube and drop the links. So.
Great, thank you. That would be really helpful. Okay, and then our last question was, does your marketing strategy include collaboration with some promising companies?
Yeah, so I responded with Tron and Tether. Those were part of the April Fool's theme. I don't know if Johnny's actually on the call if he wants to mention anything.
Johnny?
Sorry, say that again, Bill.
Oh no, I was saying we're partnering with Tron and Tether, but I don't know if you have any actual.
And it's not nothing's official yet. I mean, it's still early, but we're trying to work on some marketing campaigns with Maker, just to test out some of the S&T utility and any sort of like collaborations with DAI. They've obviously got a lot of plans and they want to work with us. So it's early days, but yeah, I expect to see some collaborations with Maker.
Nice. And Barry also mentioned, I completely forgot, we're also giving away Teslas as well. So just tweet us on Twitter, and then we may or may not change the price. It depends on the vernal equinox and things like that. So just keep an eye on our Twitter profile.
So you might choose a winner and then change it.
I mean, it really depends which side of the bed Johnny wakes up on. So yeah.
Great, we're like Oprah, just giving cars. Love it. Okay, does anybody else have any questions that they want to ask live? Cool, then I guess this ends our town hall. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.
Johnny and everyone putting this together. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.